That down. Let's move on to this. Death, taxes, and Star Wars projects getting canceled. The three immutable, unchangeable rules of the universe right now. Look, we talked many times, gone down this huge laundry list. Remember we did this a couple of weeks ago. I brought up that list. This huge laundry list of all the Star Wars projects that got announced and canceled, writers and directors being announced and canceled, blah, 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 blah. All these things are not unusual for Hollywood. Then happening at the incredible rate they happen at Lucasfilm is rare. I have no idea how Kathleen Kennedy still has her job as the head of Lucasfilm. She is I say this every time because I want to make sure nobody thinks I'm just some wild, unhinged Kathy Kennedy hater. She is a first ballot Hollywood Hall of Famer. No doubt. One of the greatest producers with one of the best resumes in the history of the business. I'm not taking any of that away from her. But being a movie producer is a different job than being the head of a studio. They're two different jobs with two different sets of skills needed and totally different sets of responsibilities. And just because you're awesome at one does not mean you're going to be good at the other. Wayne Gretzky is the greatest professional athlete of all time. Ask me how he did as a coach. Not so good because it's a different thing.
But Pat Riley did good.
But Pat Riley did great, but he wasn't, he wasn't a LeBron when he played. Sure. But now, something we speculated is now official. As Variety has announced.
Don't say it.
That Disney has removed Star Wars from its release schedule. It's gone.
It's just like Star Wars in general has been released from its schedule.
It's just gone. Now, not to say that it may not come back. That's not going to come back. But it is gone. This comes to us again from Variety, wrote the following. Disney, in news that will shock the world, has removed an untitled Star Wars film, which we knew was going to be the Rey movie. Has removed an untitled Star Wars film previously scheduled for December 18th, 2026 from its release calendar. But don't worry, folks. Ice Age 6 is going to come and now take its place.
Just in the nick of time.
Just in time. While it was never confirmed exactly what this project would be, Shireen Obaid Chinoy was previously announced as the director of the upcoming Star Wars film following Daisy Ridley's Rey after the events of 2019 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. The film lost screenwriter, by the way, its third set of screenwriters. The film just lost its screenwriter, Stephen Knight, which we all got excited when we found out. Like, oh my God, Stephen Knight's writing it. This could be, oh no, he's gone. Earlier this year, after Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson previously departed the project, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy said at last year's Star Wars Celebration that Ridley's new film would follow Rey as she rebuilds the Jedi Order. All right. Here's the thing, guys. What's left to be said? What is left to be said, and what else has to happen? Star Wars has put out some good stuff. I'm not taking any of that away, all right? I loved Rogue One. I love Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. I love Rebels. Like, there are things that have been very good. There have been some things that have been very good. And some things that have been horribly awful. But that's not why the results that we've gotten on screen, some pretty good things, some pretty awful things. The main thing is the utter organizational failure of Lucasfilm at this point. I won't bore you by going through that whole 20-something point list again of all the projects and directors have come and gone in such a short period of time over projects. Kathy Kennedy cannot shepherd a project. She can't get the right people on board that align with her creatively because she brings them on and then they're gone. Again and again and again and again and again and again and a fucking again. And we speculated when Stephen Knight said he was off the project. It's like, you know what? It's probably not going to be long before we hear that it's going to get pulled from the release schedule.
No, and when we spoke about Simon Kinberg coming on to do a trilogy, I'm like, then I don't think this Rey thing's going to get happening. But at this point, it might be, R.I.P. to Kinberg's writing or producing on a Star Wars series too. So,
I mean, and is that going to be a replacement for what the Rey thing was? The Hollywood Reporter did a big article on this, and a lot of it was speculation saying, well, Rey is the only kind of connective piece of tissue. Whatever you're going to do has got to be done with Rey. No, it doesn't. Listen, and again, just so you know that I'm not some rabid, just blind hater, I love Daisy Ridley. And I like the Rey character. I didn't love what they did with her in a lot of situations, but I like the character in principle, and I love Daisy Ridley. But even as somebody who is a Daisy Ridley appreciator and a defender of the Rey character, you have to read the room and understand that through no fault of her own, Daisy Ridley is a visual symbolic representation of one of the most divisive things that have ever happened in the Star Wars fandom. I mean, it was almost a fatal 1-2 punch. The prequel sucked ass, and then, I mean, at best, the sequels were, at best, and to be generous, a very mixed bag. But a lot of people hated them, and the visual representation of that is unfortunately the Rey character. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Public Rec. Guys, we all know finding pants that both look good and feel good has always been a major challenge. Public Rec's Daymaker pants are here to make sure you stay comfy and classy this season. I absolutely love that they feel like your favorite sweats, but they look like tailored pants. They're super stretchy with an elastic waistband so you can wear them anywhere. The first thing I noticed when I put these pants on was they go on and feel just like my most comfortable pair of sweats, yet they look so good. Another great thing about these pants is, when you order comfortable pants, you only get to pick from like small, medium, or large and extra large sizes, but with Daymaker pants, you get to select the exact width and length that you need. Public Rec not only has the most comfortable pants made, but they have a huge selection of high quality everyday basics, like this beautiful hoodie I was wearing on the show the other day. So stop suffering in regular pants and give the gift of comfort this holiday season. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off when you use the code CAMPIA at checkout. That's 20% off with the code CAMPIA at publicrec.com. And listen, after you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the John Campea Show and tell them that we sent you. Say goodbye to pants that put up a fight, because when comfort meets style, you've found Public Rec. Why they would ever, and we've talked about this before, I know, but why they would ever go back to the Rey character, which instantly you're losing half the audience. I don't like that. I don't like that that's the case. I hate that that's the case. But you got to be a realist. By revolving the new Star Wars movie around Rey, you're kind of losing half the audience right away. So what's the strategy here? Do I like the idea of rebuilding the Jedi Order? Yes. But you know what you do? You tell the next movie, I don't know, 150 years later. And you reference that Rey emerged out of that chaotic era and reestablished a new Jedi Order. And now we pick up with that, like not 1,000 years later, but 100 years later or something like that. I don't know. There's lots of, you don't, contrary to what the Hollywood Reporter article said, and I love the Hollywood Reporter, but you don't have to use Rey.
Yeah, I don't understand that comment.
You have to reference her.
Sure.
100%. You got to reference that she came out of the chaos and reestablished the Jedi Order. Sure, that's fine. But the problem is, it doesn't matter what your destination is if the fucking car is broke down, because you ain't getting anywhere. And I'm sorry, but again, and I say this as somebody with a world of reverence for Kathleen Kennedy and what she has done as a producer in the world of film, 100% I'm an appreciator of her. Star Wars is never going to get where it needs to be as long as she is the head of the company. And how she is still there is absolutely beyond me. Like, it's like watching an NFL quarterback that constantly throws more interceptions than touchdowns every year, yet is still the starting quarterback for 5 years. Like, everybody's looking at, how is this guy still the quarterback? You're never going to win with them there. And here we are again talking about another Star Wars project that has come and gone. Now, listen, they very well, because we speculated when they announced Stephen DeKnight left, or not DeKnight, Stephen Knight. Stephen DeKnight is another guy entirely.
Right.
When they announced that Stephen Knight is left, and we speculated, you know what? They're probably going to pull this movie off the schedule, and they did. It could very well reappear for 2027 or 2028. I'm not saying that the project is dead, but here we are again. And how many guys? Listen, Bob Iger, Big Papa Iger. Hopefully, one of your minions will pass this on to you. What are we doing? What's going on? You clearly take the Marvel world very seriously. Why are you not taking the Star Wars universe seriously? And I say that because as long as Kathleen Kennedy's ahead, and I get it, George Lucas handpicked her. I was all for her selection as well at first. I think most Star Wars fans were. I think most Star Wars fans were like, yeah, Kathleen Kennedy on paper, this is a good choice. George Lucas picked well. And that's fine. But after some time passes and you realize it's not working out, you got to make a change. So what are you doing? I cannot help but feel, guys, that if this was any of the other Disney studios, if this was Pixar, if this was Marvel, if this was, name your division, that now year after year after year after year has shown that we can't really make this go, they would have removed the head of that studio ages ago and replaced them. So I'm just kind of left here with what are we doing?
Yeah. No, even the parks, like even if you like, let's say it's the parks department. Yeah. Oh, well, this ride's going to be built. Oh, never mind. We're changing it to this ride. You'd accept that a couple times. And then it'd be like, we're going to make this whole land at this other park. No, actually that's been scrapped. And now 10 years has gone by and Disneyland hasn't opened a new ride or a new land at any one of their theme parks.
Attendance decreased for 10 years straight.
And everyone's just like, it's fine.
What do you think about Kinberg's trilogy then?
Well,
I mean, I still have hope for that, but like I said when we announced it, right? I have no belief that it's actually going to happen. Like in principle, I like the idea. I'm hopeful for Simon Kinberg bringing something to her trilogy, but I don't actually believe it's going to happen.
Well, do you think what their plan, if there are plans right now, do you think that could have been a little reason maybe why they removed Rey?
Maybe the Simon Kinberg thing is kind of replacing what the Rey thing was.
Conflicts with that story.
But even if that's true,
why announce it?
Because you could be right. Even if that's true, it once again shows that Kathleen Kennedy didn't think it all out before standing on stage at Star Wars Celebration and announcing, we're doing this and we're doing this. Like, you clearly, so if it's only being pulled because it's going to be replaced with the Simon Kinberg thing, well, once again, that's just more proof that she doesn't know how to do long-term planning.
They're in it for the applause.
DC was guilty of that for a long time.
And here's the other thing. With Disney, listen, on paper and in theory, I like the Bob Chapek hire too. And it only took them 2 years to kick his ass out when they realized it wasn't working. So if you can do that, if you can put an executive in place and you within 2 years can recognize this isn't working, you pulled the trigger, got rid of them and whatever. Why has that not happened with Lucasfilm?
Unless there's like some weird contract that she is guaranteed cannot be removed from her position for X amount of years. I don't know.
It can't be. They would never, Bob Iger would never allow that.
I know.
Right? Would absolutely never allow that. So I don't know. I'm just at a loss. And once again, here we are again, talking about another big trip, another writer leaving, another director leaving, another project being canceled, another thing being removed off the release schedule. It's like, this is all we talk about now when we talk about Star Wars.
Is this a situation, John, with Kathleen Kennedy where you see we just need one win and everything? Or do you think it needs more than that?
No, because Andor was a win.
Yeah.
Mando season 1 was a win. Like I said, that's why I started off this whole conversation by saying, listen, I acknowledge they've had a couple of good things. Couple of things that I really enjoy. But this whole thing, guess what? If you're going to put a team out on the ice that wins 50% of the time, but you're constantly in the news for all the behind the scenes garbage and like you can't keep a head coach and you can't keep your coordinators and your players aren't happy and your stars are asking for trades and all the, like you're going to be gone. Because if you can't get your act together in the boardroom, you're never going to produce consistent, high quality stuff on the screen.
It's honestly not even 50%. If you look at Disney Plus's like the home, like their field, it's 50% home games, and then they're losing all their away. So it's worse. It's a worse record than 50.
You know, Mike on live chat said, this is only sports fans will get this. Kathleen Kennedy is the movie's version of Jerry Jones. Yeah, kind of. Kind of in a way.
Oh my God, I'm just thinking of him from the show. And he's like on his knees. He's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I just don't know what to. Anyway, guys, question is for you. I mean, clearly none of us are shocked that this movie's been pulled off the release schedule, and it very well could go back on the release schedule at a later date, like 2027, 2028. It could. But here we are again with Lucasfilm tripping over its own feet again.
Yeah.
And again, and again, and again, and again. How much more needs to happen before? And listen, I not only want this for all of us fans, I want this for Kathleen Kennedy too. Kathleen Kennedy should go back to doing what she is one of the greatest of all time doing, just straight up being a film producer. Go back to that. You're awesome at it. You'll have great success. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.